Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Radha Gadhar Bhagwan ki Jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ji ki Jai, His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. So, Hare Krishna dear devotees. Thank Hare Krishna. Sorry, think I got a bit disconnected there. So, Hare Krishna dear devotees. Thank you, Amrish Prabhu. Thank you, His Grace Punpige Mataji. And thank you, His Grace Krishna Samarpan Krishna Prabhu for organizing this program and giving me opportunity to share my realization on this verse, Shri Shobneshwar Mantra 4. Hare Krishna Devansh Mataji. So we will actually start by reciting the verse again. Let me share the screen. Okay. Right. Anejadekam manaso jabiyo nainad devapnuvam purvam harshat tadhavato nyan atiyeti tishtat tasmin apo matarishva dadati. Anejadekam manaso jabiyo nainad devapnuvam purvam harshad tadhavato nyan atiyeti tishtat tasmin apo matarishva dadati. For translation, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Although fixed in his abode, the personality of Godhead is swifter than the mind and can overcome all others running. The powerful demigods cannot approach him, although in one place he controls those who supply the air and rain. He surpasses all in excellence. Okay. Devansh Mataji, you want to recite the verse?
Yes, Ramji. Anejad ekam manaso javiyo nana devatnuvan purvamarshad tadhavato nyan atyeti tishthat tasmin apomatarishva dadhati. Although fixed in his abode, the personality of Godhead is swifter than the mind and can overcome all others running. The powerful demigods cannot approach him, although in one place he controls those who supply the air and rain. He surpasses all in excellence.
Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. So I think last week we spent a lot of time understanding the translation, and also we went through the first 3 paragraphs. So we spent a lot of time actually focusing on the point that is we cannot understand Supreme Lord by mental speculation. So I think I shared quite a few references there from Srila Prabhupada's lecture there. And Srila Prabhupada gave a reference from Srivan Bhagavatam Maharsanam, where it is clearly stated that actually we should give up this actually, the propensity or tendency to actually speculate and try to understand Krishna by our own limited senses, imperfect senses. We cannot actually understand him. The Krishna can be only understood by pure devotional service. So we took the reference of Bhagavad Gita verse there. So that has been discussed. We also touched on the point of actually various potencies of the Lord, external, internal, and So yeah, Tatastha Shakti as well there. Yeah. And okay, so we will begin from now the fourth paragraph. So I think we have quite a bit to go. I think we should be able to finish it today. So Devansh Mataji, would you be able to read the part today?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
From the
Bhagavad Gita, yeah.
In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse 2, the Lord says that not even the great rishis and suras can know him. And what to speak of the asuras, for whom there is no question of understanding the ways of the Lord. The fourth mantra of Sri Isopanishad very clearly suggests that the absolute truth is ultimately the absolute person. Otherwise, there would have been no need to mention so many details in support of his personal features.
Yes. Okay. So here, Srila Prabhupada actually took the reference of Bhagavad Gita 10.2, where it is said that not even actually great demigods, the great sages, they cannot actually understand Krishna. Neither the host of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of demigods and sages. So as Srila Prabhupada always pointed out, even the actually great sages and demigods, they also belong to the same marginal potency of the Lord. And as Krishna clearly says that he is actually the source of demigods and sages. So they cannot actually understand Krishna because they again have limited potency, limited sphere of activity, what Srila Prabhupada states. So there is no question for non-devotees or asuras, they cannot know him because they do not have any loving actually exchange, or they do not have any devotional attitude towards Krishna. And Krishna clearly says that even in actually these mental speculators or even scientists, they can actually go on speculating for millions of years, experimenting and so on. And Srila Prabhupada says that it's not possible to even come close to understand some of his potencies by that actually experimental way or speculating. And that's why he's also called Adhokshaj. So Srila Prabhupada actually explaining this point very nicely, where he says that Krishna actually defeats all these efforts by mental speculators and scientists. So the only way that is said that to understand Krishna is a submissive devotional attitude. By rendering pure devotional service, actually Krishna will reveal himself to you. It's not that you can actually understand Krishna. So actually, to the degree you are surrendered, Krishna actually will reveal accordingly. So that is the only way, so that's why it is said that it's very, very rare, Srila Prabhupada says those devotees, pure devotees, who can understand some features of actually Krishna's potencies, those Mahatmas are very rare. Saha Mahatma, Sudurlabha. So that the same point is mentioned here. And here it says that second important point is that absolute truth is ultimately absolute person, right? So Srila Prabhupada again highlight that point, and actually translation itself actually highlights many personal features of a supreme personality of Godhead, where it says that is a swifter than mind and can overcome all others running. Powerful demigod cannot approach him, although in one place he controls those who supply air and rain. He surpasses all in excellence. So actually all these descriptions given here is clearly actually proves that this is actually the features of a person, all right? So we cannot say that actually supreme absolute truth is impersonal. So I think, and again, Srila Prabhupada says that this is actually Isopanishad mantra 4, that actually means the whole mantra. When we study, we understand that actually it explains various personal features of the Lord. And yes, I think there is no any doubt that actually, as some of the Mayavadis claim that actually supreme truth is impersonal. Okay, okay, let's go back to the purport again. Okay, although Hare Krishna Mataji, can you read now?
Yes, Prabhuji. Although the individual parts and parcels of the Lord's potencies have all the symptoms of the Lord Himself, they have limited spheres of activity and are therefore limited. The parts and parcels are never equal to the whole. Therefore, they cannot appreciate the Lord's full potency. Under the influence of material nature, foolish and ignorant living beings who are but parts and parcels of the Lord try to conjecture about the Lord's transcendental position. Sri Isopanishad warns of the futility of trying to establish the identity of the Lord through mental speculation. One should try to learn of the transcendence from the Lord Himself, the supreme source of the Vedas. For the Lord alone has full knowledge of the transcendence.
Yeah. So here again, what is described here, the part and parcel of the Lord's potencies. So that's actually the living entities, including us, are actually, even we are actually part and parcel. So this point actually means it comes up many times, even in when we study Bhagavad Gita. Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Krishna declares that all these living entities are nothing but they are just part and parcel, Mamai Amsh, my Amsh. They are part and parcel of me. So qualitatively, as Srila Prabhupada very nicely explains, that we have qualitatively equal with the Lord, right? Because even we are very tiny fragmental portion of Him, we still, have the qualities, our Atma, have the similar qualities as the Supreme Lord. But actually, when you look at the quantity, there is a huge difference, right? So actually, the size of Atma, spirit soul, is very tiny. So I think it came into discussion previously as well, where in Bhagavad Gita it is clearly mentioned, his size of the Atma is 1/10,000 of the tip of a hair, right? So it's very, very minute. Even if you try to actually look through the microscope, you cannot able to see it. So it's such a tiny fragmental portion. So that's why it is said here is that they have very limited sphere of activity and therefore they're all limited, right? Even actually when this soul actually become conditioned, actually when it takes birth in this material world, he accepts the material body, and that comes with the imperfect senses. So actually what is said here that actually the part and parcel of the Lord, they try to conjecture, based on very limited information and knowledge and intelligence, they try to actually conceive, how Krishna would be, So this is nothing but mental speculation, because we do not actually have perfect senses. We do not have all the intelligence. We do not, everything is, our senses are limited. So by mental speculation, there is no way we can actually conceive the inconceivable, right? Because sometimes even it is stated that even Krishna do not know his own boundaries, actually, as soon as he knows, he again expands. So for a living entity, for such a minute spirit soul with his actually material body and imperfect senses, is almost impossible to understand. So in Srila Prabhupada mentions this verse in Bhagavad Gita 7.3, where it is stated, Atha Sri Krishna Namadi na aved grahyam indriya sevon mukehi jivado swayam eva sprutyadaha. No one can understand Krishna as he is by the blunt material senses. Right? So same point. But he reveals himself to the devotees, being pleased with them for their transcendental loving service unto him. So this is a reference from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So actually answer is given here. If you want to actually understand Krishna, then only way is the actually rendering loving service unto him, right? So by submissively surrendering and actually serving him lovingly, so he will reveal himself, if he wish to do so. So it's totally up to the Krishna. We cannot say that, well, I'm doing pure devotional service, I'm doing so many services, now Krishna should, must reveal to me. It doesn't work that way. If he's pleased, with your devotional service, and if you have the mercy of your parampara, then he may choose to do so. So Srila Prabhupada is very, very clear, the words he uses when he explains this point, that he always say he may. He never says that he will. He may wish, he will reveal to you. So that point is really very clear there. And here, actually, Srila Prabhupada says, Isopanishad warns of the futility of trying to establish the identity of Lord through mental speculation. So we already discussed this point quite in detail. One should try to learn about transcendence from the Lord himself, right? The supreme source of the Vedas. For Lord alone has full knowledge of the transcendence. So yes, Krishna is actually, he's the source of all the knowledge or Vedas. In Bhagavad Gita 15.15, he clearly says that Vedeshta sarver aham eva vedo vedanta kridveda vidayeva chaham. Right? So he states that actually I am the source of all the Vedas, compiler of all the Vedas, and from studying the Vedas, ultimately he's to be known. So he's actually source of the Vedas, all the knowledge, and if you study Vedas, you will actually, the ultimate object to be known is Krishna only. So if you want to learn about the Krishna, then actually you have to approach the Krishna. So that is by studying Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, through the bona fide sources. So that is actually parampara there again. We do not have to actually resort to the actually experimental and doing experimentation or mental speculation, or you don't really have to go actually try to look for the answer other than actually what is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam. So that point is very clear there as again. Okay. Let me share screen. Right.
Every part and parcel of the complete whole is endowed with some particular energy to act according to the Lord's will. When the part and parcel living entity forgets his particular activities under the Lord's will, he is considered to be in Maya, illusion. Thus, from the very beginning, Sri Isopanishad warns us to be very careful to play the part designated for us by the Lord. This does not mean that the individual soul has no initiative of his own, because he is part and parcel of the Lord. He must partake of the initiative of the Lord as well. When a person properly utilizes his initiative or active nature with intelligence, understanding that everything is the Lord's potency, he can revive his original consciousness, which was lost due to association with Maya, the external energy.
Yeah.
All power is up. Should I continue to read the vision? Yeah. All power is obtained from the Lord. Therefore, each particular power must be utilized to execute the will of the Lord and not otherwise. The Lord can be known by one who has adopted such a submissive service attitude. Perfect knowledge means knowing the Lord in all his features, knowing his potencies, and knowing how these potencies work by his will. These matters are described by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita, the essence of all the Upanishads.
Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So Srila Prabhupada conclude this purport here. So the last two paragraphs are very important. Actually, the whole purport is important, but here it says that every part and parcel of a complete whole is endowed with some particular energy to act according to Lord's will. And when a part and parcel living entity forgets his particular activity under Lord's will, he is to be considered to be in Maya or illusion. So here it says that everyone, is actually given, some particular energy. So we are part and parcel of Krishna. So, our actually Atma is a Satchidananda Vigraha, the form. Actually, three elements that is actually Atma is made of, right? And we also are part of a Tatastha, or what we call is a marginal potency. So we are the actually potency of the Lord himself, right? And actually, it is clearly said that we are actually given, it is said that when we are in a spiritual world, even before we actually fall down to this material world, we take birth here. So when we are actually with Krishna in a spiritual world, actually, I remember Srila Prabhupada explained this point that then actually every living entity, or actually every spirit soul, he has a particular unique relationship with the Krishna. Even in the spiritual world, you are actually, everyone is engaged in rendering a particular service, unique service to the Krishna. So that is actually your identity as well. And we always say that Atma, as being Atma, or spirit soul, so our actually the main business, or what we call is a dharma, is to render a service unto the Supreme, right, to Krishna. So we are eternal servitor of the Lord. And he says that when the part and parcel forgets his particular activity and thus Lord's will, is considered to be in Maya or illusion. So actually, by nature, actually we are very active. By nature, we have tendency to serve, right? So we studied this point. So we are always want to be actually active in serving someone. So when we are in actually when we know our constitutional position, actually, if you are aware, well aware, you are conscious of your constitutional position, then you will be always engaged in serving Krishna, the living devotional service. So that is your real identity. And Srila Prabhupada says that I am the servant of the Krishna, that is also real ego. But actually, when we actually revolt against Krishna, and as a result of when we fall down to this material planet, but that is again our own desire, and we accept this material body, then we forget Krishna, right? We come under the influence of all these three modes, Satugun, Rajagun, Tamogun. And with the influence of this mode and our interaction in this material world, then actually we develop this false ego. And because of a forgetfulness of Krishna, then still our actually serving tendency doesn't go away, because that is one of the actually main symptom of our spirit soul is to serve. So then we engage in serving ourselves, right? We engage in serving our senses, we engage in serving our family, friends, nation, whatever. So this point actually means we actually came up many times, that if you're not actually serving Krishna, then we're serving somebody else. But we actually, our tendency to serve doesn't go away. But because we have we've forgotten Krishna, and we actually acting whimsically, under the illusion of this Maya, we are always illusioned. We think that actually we know everything. We think that actually we are doing the right thing. But actually, unless we come in contact with the pure devotee of the Lord, like Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, we never know actually what is our real purpose in this life. And Srila Prabhupada says that that's why we need to have actually this, we must inquire, who we are. I'm the spirit soul, Aham Brahmasmi. Srila Prabhupada always bring this point up, unless we inquire, and actually after inquiring, fortunately, if you come in contact with the pure devotees, and if you follow their instruction nicely, then you will know that actually who you are and what you have forgotten so far, and how to actually rejuvenate your actually original constitutional position, that how you can become the eternal servitor of the Lord. So first thing is, yes, everyone must actually engage in loving devotional service, but this is something not to be forced, right? We cannot force people to become a devotee of Krishna. Because when people, when you preach, actually, people come to the program, we can do our best to explain what spirit soul is, who's Krishna, what is your relationship with the Krishna. But still, Srila Prabhupada said that devotional service is actually is a quite unique. It's an individual. It's a voluntary. It's not forced. It has to come from within, from your heart. You cannot actually push people because to certain degree, because when people are actually do not have this knowledge, then just like that, when we come in contact with this program, Hare Krishna WECAN, so we listen from Amrish Prabhu, and we actually when this instruction resonated with our heart, then we started to follow, right? We started to do various services. But actually, it's never been forced. You cannot force person to do a devotional service. So Srila Prabhupada always says that do not actually try to force or tell people what to do. Inspire them. Actually, you give them a knowledge. You give them prasad. And they will learn from you. Actually, preaching is not just actually teaching them what to do, but actually by your own example. How you lead your life. They will observe you, they will see you, and they will get inspired, and then actually they will actually find a way, or under your guidance they will actually serve Krishna. So this is a very important point, because some people, even if actually they are receiving a similar knowledge, similar instruction, they are not very submissive. They are actually they may not actually follow the same path that other devotees are following, because unless it is actually their heart is changed, So some people do not change, and Srila Prabhupada says that sometimes they are still not ready. When their time is right, and when they are ready, they will start to follow. So devotional service actually, is an initiative. Even he says that we're not like a robots, right? That Krishna can actually just train us that, you do this, and you do this, and you will become a pure devotee. So Krishna has a free will. He has initiative. So as being a part and parcel, we also have initiative, fragmental. So we can actually, take our own initiative, use our own intelligence, use your own individuality to actually serve Krishna in a unique way. But definitely in initial stages, we are still, we're all very new. So we definitely need a guidance of a pure devotee, right? So that's why we are here, we are learning all these instructions from Srila Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada, and Amrish Prabhu's teaching all these, things for so many years. So fortunately, we are actually in a right association. So this is very important point to understand. But actually, when we forget this, actually that we are part and parcel of Krishna, and our only business is to actually serve and please Krishna, then as it says that those living entities, they remain in illusion state, And Srila Prabhupada says that they have to suffer, all the threefold miseries of this material world. We are also suffering, but actually we are, when you do devotional service, so you are a little bit protected, you have this mercy or shelter. So, so this is a very important point from this paragraph. Actually, I was meditating on this point. It is also says that when a person properly utilizes his initiative, active nature, with intelligence, understanding that everything is Lord's potency, he can revive his original consciousness, which was lost due to association with Maya. So, when we engage ourselves, so we, as a living entity, in this material world, we're all illusion. We're all under influence of Maya. But actually, when you engage yourself, and you, as you surrender, the more you surrender, more you are under the protection of internal potency of the Lord. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 7.14, Daivihi Yesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Durataya. Daivihi Yesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Durataya. Mama Eva Prapadante Maya Metam Tarantiti. So this actually, the Maya, this is very hard to actually, go above this Maya, which is made of these three gunas, Satugun, Rajugun, Tamogun. Krishna says it's very difficult, it's almost impossible for us. But if we surrender unto Krishna, then it becomes easier. It becomes very, it's not that difficult to cross over. And as you cross over, means once you cross over, basically it's a liberated stage, right? So, you can attain the Brahma Bhuta stage very easily, where you can actually render loving devotional service to the Krishna on that actually transcendental platform. So that's and that's how you will actually revive your original consciousness. But well, actually, I never experienced that myself. But this is just knowledge to me as well. But this is actually instruction is given here, and it is said that all power is obtained from the Lord, right? Therefore, each particular power must be utilized to execute the will of the Lord, and not otherwise. The Lord can be known by one who has adopted such a submissive service attitude. So that as we know that we are part and parcel of Krishna, so our soul is a part of Krishna. Material body is given by Krishna. And the world that we live in is created by Krishna. All the facilities that we enjoy is given by Krishna. So everything is Krishna in one sense, right? So one has to understand that, and we will never understand unless we come in contact with the pure devotee, who can actually impart this actually transcendental knowledge. Because before we come in contact with this program, I did not have this knowledge, but now, because we are actually try to study, we are actually learning from a authorized source. Now we are getting all this knowledge, so I understand at least that point is that Krishna is the supreme person. We are part and parcel of him. And our only job is to serve him, right? This might be just a word to us, but we actually try to learn now. So that point has to be understood. And when we understand that point, then slowly, as Srila Prabhupada says that, you wake up early in the morning, you do the arati, welcome Krishna, you do your rounds, and you do your services. That's how you purify yourself. As you become more and more purified, then Krishna will reveal. That he says that one who has adopted this submissive service attitude. So actually, one of the definition of bhakti, it says that anya bhilashata shunyam, jnana karmadi anavritam, anukulenu krishnanu, shilanam bhakti uttama. So anya bhilashata shunyam, without actually having any material motives, or material desires. Normally, initially, we approach Krishna with so many material objectives, right? We wanted to actually progress in our actually career, want to earn a lot of money. We want that and this. With all this actually material, material propensities or contamination, we approach Krishna. But still, Krishna is actually transcendental. He is the greatest purifying force. So actually, he fulfill our desire, but at the same time, if we follow this process submissively, we slowly get purified. Anukulene Krishna, right? So if we serve Krishna according to how we wanted to be served, that is actually real. It's a good attitude, right? Currently, we are serving as per our convenience, right? We only come to the class if the time suits us, or we only do this and that if it fits in our schedule, right? So our material things are still a priority for us. Krishna is not the top priority yet. We say that Krishna should be a top priority, but actually we have to get there. But still, my position is still, we have a lot of material priorities in our life, because we think that we are still a doer. We have to do the job, we have to earn the money. Even we know that Krishna is the ultimate maintainer, and we have to actually just do our duty and leave the results up to the Krishna. But slowly, as we actually slowly chant and try to do services, we will get to that point. But important point is to have the submissive service attitude. Right? So once we have that attitude and try to follow your parampara in that mood, then definitely you will progress. And the last statement of Srila Prabhupada here says, perfect knowledge means knowing the Lord in all his features, knowing his potencies and knowing how these potencies work by his will. So basically, is actually understanding, try to actually understand actually Krishna in all his features. So Krishna can be, there are three features. First is a Brahman Jyoti, what we say, that's an impersonal feature of Krishna. nothing, but they are nothing but the bodily rays coming from the Krishna. Then there is a Paramatma feature, right? So he's situated in everyone's heart as a Paramatma. And third is the top one is the Bhagwan, right? Is a personal, supreme personality of Godhead. So actually, Srimad Bhagavatam explained this point very nicely, that Krishna can be understood in his three features. So according to one's realization. So all this knowledge is given in Bhagavad Gita, knowing his potencies. So we already actually discussed about the potencies, there are three main potencies: is external potency, internal potency, and marginal potency, and how these actually potencies, they actually interact or work together. So we are actually as a part of a marginal potency. We're still actually superior, part of a superior. Krishna is actually part and parcel, but we're so minute. We can be influenced by Maya, or we can be influenced or protected under the internal potency if you actually engage in devotional service. So, all these points are actually means they have been described in Bhagavad Gita, but I think we shouldn't, I think this is not a, I think we cannot able to focus on all those points in this actually purport. But Srila Prabhupada has actually mentioned that all this knowledge is actually, all these matters are described by Lord in the Bhagavad Gita, the sense of all the Upanishads. Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Okay, I think it's 5:40. Any questions on what we discussed today? Or even from the last week as well? If you have any questions, we still have another 10 minutes at least. Namataji's. Okay. If you still means if you come up with any questions, I think you still have until Wednesday next week. If you can post those questions in our intermediate class, WhatsApp group, and then if there are questions, then we can actually have the next session organized. Where actually probably Amrish Prabhu will explain those points in greater details. Okay, less than I think we still have the time. Let's recite the verse and actually.
Well, it's okay. We can take a break, Prabhuji. I want to just make a few announcements. Is it okay?
Oh yeah, sure, Prabhuji. Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
First, Prabhuji, thank you very much for your nice class, Prabhuji. It's very nice.